Okay, so we're going to mix it up a little bit today. We're going to do some Reddit questions and stories and just give our perspective as coaches. We've both been trainers for over a decade each, so we're just going to bring our perspective, hopefully help out the person asking this and anyone watching it. So the first one we're going to do is, the question is it even possible to lose weight if extremely stressed? And they said, I have this solid round beer belly, and I hate it. I hate looking at it in the mirror. I hate looking down at it every time I'm in the shower. It just makes me so unhappy. I'm otherwise not overweight. My legs and arms are not that fat. It's mainly my beer belly and my moobs that are the problem. I've only recently learned that high cortisol can result in this, and I absolutely have high cortisol since I have an extremely severe panic disorder. I have panic attacks that basically just don't stop ever. I can spend an entire 24 hours tensed up and in a state of fight or flight. The thing that interests me is that at my worst, I wasn't eating at all. I was spending all day completely motionless in bed, shaking with fear. When my parents called me down for dinner, I would literally take a few mouthfuls and then go straight back upstairs to resume lying in bed. Even then, I still had a beer belly and moobs. And throughout the whole ordeal, I only lost a couple kilos tops. I thought that since I wasn't eating, I would have lost weight, but no, I barely lost any. Am I basically doomed to stay fat-bellied as long as this problem exists? Is it even possible to lose weight if you're this stressed? So a few things there. This is very extreme stress. Like they have some health things to consider. So this isn't just like garden variety, I'm having a tough week of work. So, but regardless of that, we'll kind of speak about stress in general. It is possible to lose weight if you're stressed. It is pretty difficult. So you definitely want to, there are actionables that you can do, and that's part of what we teach our clients. To try to, it's not going to make all of the concerns of your day-to-day go away, obviously. It's not just us saying, hey, chill out, and then you can lose your weight. There's some actionables you can do. We always start with deep breathing, specifically belly breathing with our clients. Actually, I have a video on the channel you guys can check out. I'll link that in the description. Breathing is always a really good place to start as far as that. But yes, like I said, the more cortisol we have built up, unfortunately, our body takes that as a sign to hold on to more fat. So someone can have great habits in place as far as exercise and diet, but it'll be really hard to lose the weight because where their stress levels are. Sleep is a big thing. Getting quality sleep is a huge factor in helping regulate your cortisol levels and just all hormones. And that's why sleep is so important in a weight loss journey. So there's a lot of different things you can do to try to combat this, and even in this is about as stressed as you can be with what they're dealing with. These actionables would be good for them too. So there's definitely actionables you can do beyond, I need to calm down, because that's not really productive. The other thing I wanted to touch on, and then I'll let you hop in.
Lots of thoughts.
They said the part where basically they thought since they weren't eating, they'd lose weight. Basically, and this is why people who really, bang the desk or hammer home like, oh, it's all about calorie deficit. If you're in a calorie deficit, you lose weight. And there's no other way to lose weight. It's like, well, this is a great example of that's not true. They're clearly in a deficit, but our body, if we go too far the other way and undereat, our body is going to, rather than take what it needs and passing the rest along, it's going to take everything you put in your system and store it for long-term storage rather than using what you need for energy and, like I said, passing the rest along. So this is somebody there's probably multiple things. They need a game plan to try to manage their stress and do the best they can. And their metabolism is probably in a state that it's a little damaged, for lack of a kinder word. So they definitely want to do some stuff to get their metabolism back on track and basically rebuild some trust with their body, because right now their body, whatever they're putting into themselves, is storing for long-term storage, and that's why he has this frustration. And it can take some time, but there's definitely a path to lose the belly, lose the moobs, as you so eloquently put. So yeah, it is possible.
So this person doesn't mention, they mention they have like a panic disorder, but they don't mention where they are in dealing with that. Like, obviously, if they're not already in therapy, which I'm guessing they are because they described it as a disorder, which sounds like they have a diagnosis. So that's obviously one thing to consider, because the therapist might be able to give some recommendations, which is not our area. But they could also be on some medications. and medications do have a pretty powerful impact on how we metabolize food. So that's another thing to consider, just to kind of like get that out of the way of like, if there's medical concerns, you have to talk to a medical professional. But in terms of what he's experiencing with struggles with weight loss, regardless of eating, like, it is technically true that if you're in a deficit, you lose weight. However, figuring out if you're in a deficit is not as simple as I move this much and then I eat this much and then deficit. Like, there's other things that can cause. So it is technically true that a deficit makes you lose weight, but like creating that deficit isn't as simple as like writing down what you eat and tracking like with an activity tracker or something like that. And yeah, in terms of, like you said, actionables, the issue is that he's basically living in his sympathetic nervous system. So it's like the fight or flight, like he said. And you're never going to make your stress go away, even if you don't have a panic disorder or an anxiety disorder. Stress isn't going to go away. The biggest thing and why breathing works is teaching your body to not create such a spike in cortisol when you have those moments of stress. So breathing is a good thing to do. Really specifically, and we did a video on this recently on our Instagram about breathing before meals being a really good strategy, because even if you're stressed the rest of the day, if you can at least get yourself into that rest and digest right before you start taking in food, you're at least then in a state where your body is not as likely to store all of that extra calories or convert things to fat, because it doesn't feel like it's running from something and has to store it. So if you can't, for whatever reason, manage your cortisol all day, every day, if you can at least take some deep breaths, like 60 seconds right before every meal, that will go a really long way until you're able to implement a little bit more stress strategies. And I think he also mentioned that at one point he was like laying in bed all day, I think, which, because you touched on sleep a little bit, likely that's probably meaning that and this is speaking from like other clients that I've had that have been in basically this situation, likely that is like they spend 24 hours a day kind of in and out of sleep at random, and that can really throw off your circadian rhythm and your ability to recover, and that's also going to. So it's not just like, oh, I need to get 8 hours of sleep, because this sounds like there was also a depression situation. So he was probably getting 10 plus hours of sleep, which is very common when someone is struggling with that. So it's not just like you have to get enough. It's also a matter of getting it in a rhythm so that your body knows, like,
regulating it.
Yeah, it knows how to like regulate your hormones, regulate your cortisol, which is a hormone, and knows that like, okay, it's right about that time for me to start prepping for recovery and doing what I need to do. But if you're kind of in and out of sleep at random, it makes it really hard for your body to regulate anything. So he probably, if he could do some deep breathing and get his sleep under control, which again, there's probably some therapeutic methods that need to happen there for him to get through that. But doing those things, if you're just generally struggling and don't have a disorder, if he can get those things under control, he probably could have been eating twice as much and been losing weight, because now his hormones are a little bit more regulated. He's not experiencing insulin spikes and things like that. I think that was, I don't think that was everything that I had to say about it.
So generally speaking, can you lose weight if you're super stressed? Absolutely. There's actionables you can do. There's, you can work on stress reducing things, and that can be different for everybody. That could be taking a walk for somebody. That could be someone's quote unquote meditation. I'm not really a big meditator, but I'll do things that are like my meditation and help me kind of try to get my stress levels down and not let it snowball.
Getting outside as well.
Outside,
Sorry,
like vitamin D can, like, this is an extreme case. Like, they have a lot of stuff. Like, we might need to be tag teaming with a therapist to get their recommendations, and then we can help implement. So this is definitely a more extreme case, but even so, the person definitely has some actionables that we could help implement. But there's no quick fix here. This is gonna somebody who, like, the conversation would be about like trying to repair their relationship with food, because that sounds like it's not in a good place either. So there's a lot of things to work on, but there are definitely some like actionables we can get them going on right away. If you just kind of have your garden variety, day to day, week by week stress, deep breathing is a great place to start, and that can help manage those stress levels when they do come up. Because this isn't us saying like don't let your stress go up. It's gonna. It's more about combating it and managing it and getting you back down and not staying at that elevated state, and that can just keep going and going and going. So
yeah, essentially we just don't want to like live in fight or flight. That's which unfortunately a lot of people do, that because we have so much stress, especially if you're in the US, just because of how like work environments work and hustle culture. It's very easy to just be stuck permanently in the sympathetic nervous system or in that fight or flight. And just to kind of quickly touch, like, yes, this is an extreme case, which is why he was experiencing such a wall, but stress can block weight loss or muscle gain or progress for everyone, even if it's not extreme. Like I've had plenty of clients that on paper are doing everything right, and their weight or their strength either doesn't move at all or it just like barely creeps. And the difference there is like managing cortisol and managing sleep, because I think people forget that cortisol, it's not just like the stress thing, it's a hormone. And I think most of us know that hormones do a lot in terms of how our body responds to exercise and nutrition.
Okay.
I think we've exhausted that.
I think we did it.
Okay. Okay, so this is going to be more like traditional Reddit drama. Haven't actually read it. I've only read the title, and it felt like something that we could talk about. So for context, this is coming from Am I the Asshole? And have you ever heard of the Am I the Devil subreddit? Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know, Am I the Devil is like the worst of the worst Am I the Asshole. So this one was reposted on Am I the Devil. So it should be...
Table.
Huh?
Quit hitting the table.
Sorry. So it should be interesting.
I
Okay.
want to interrupt you, but now that we have a pause.
Okay.
You've hit it 17,000 times.
Sorry. Okay. Okay, so am I the asshole for helping my wife on her weight loss journey? I, 27 male, and my wife, it says 26 male, but I think he means female, have been together for 6 years, married for 2. Our marriage is usually perfect, and we just had a beautiful baby boy 8 months ago. My wife had a tough pregnancy, so she took the 3 months of it off work and has decided to be a stay-at-home mom. She and I have been very busy for the last year because of this and have both gained weight. I gained 25 pounds and she gained nearly 80 pounds. So we decided together we needed to make changes. I've been going to the gym in the morning, but she says she doesn't have time with the baby, which I understand. I also usually work late, so I assumed she would be making healthy dinners since she's at home, and she did for a couple of weeks, but then she got back into buying unhealthy fast food. We spoke about this many times, and she said she would try to make time, and it seemed great until I realized I had lost almost 15 pounds and she had gained 5. We had a discussion about it, and she was immediately very defensive and admitted when I am not home, she gets herself fast food and does not work out at all. I know she is insecure about her body, and to be honest, I don't find her very attractive anymore either. Of course, I don't say this to her face. Instead, I decided to try and help her, and his typing is not the greatest. This is where I may have fucked up, I think is what that sentence is supposed to say. For her birthday, I got her a Peloton, a subscription to diet food delivery service, and a couple classes at a fancy gym near our house that she could go to while I babysat. When she first saw her gift, she insisted that it was all too expensive and I should take it back, but I assured her she was worth it. After a while of going back and forth, it spiraled into a fight where she said she has been struggling with the baby and I'm trying to get her to lose weight instead of actually helping her. I want to clarify that I think losing weight would help her feel better physically and mentally, but she insists I am being an asshole. Am I the asshole? And there's an edit, but I'll get to that in a second. It's not really relevant.
Yeah, you're kind of a douche. Because just to stay within our
scope.
Not just get personal here, which we can get real catty. What I like, the first thing is like, has she said, and I don't remember hearing that, but it was kind of a lot. Like, does she want to lose the weight? Because it sounds like the guy wants them to lose the weight, but she might not be at a, like, approaching like we would with any client. Like, I'd be like, all right, what are your goals? Like, do you want to lose weight? And she might not want to lose weight, like, right now. Just because she needs to doesn't matter, because she's not. So, like, she might not be at a, she's not that, like, ready for change state.
Well, she just had a baby 8 months ago.
And I'm wondering about, like, she sounds depressed, which is normal, obviously, postpartum. Yeah, it sounds like he's not really had conversations that he probably should have with her. He's really more like, he's really tunnel visioned on gotta lose weight.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think she seems to not give much of a shit about the Peloton and subscriptions. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't seem like she wants to, or she at least hasn't explored, like, if she does want to lose weight, she hasn't really said that, and they don't really have like a deeper why as to like why she wants to lose weight. That's why she's not really following through. It sounds like he has a motivation. He's at a state of readiness for change, so he's doing all that, and that's fine. But it doesn't sound like she is, or her approach might need to be different.
Well, and
hire a trainer.
Yeah. So the thing because I'm trying to think of this like, if she was my client and he was my client's husband, like that's kind of what I'm trying to think of.
Yeah.
Because this happens a lot where we hear about like, oh, my husband is like telling me I need to lose weight, and I have to be like, tell your husband to stop telling you what you need to do. Like, that's sorry. So yeah, she just had a baby 8 months ago. He said in the last year, so since being pregnant and having a baby, she's gained 80 pounds. So we can assume at least 25 pounds of that is the weight she was supposed to have gained. Ish. I mean, obviously after you have the baby, you drop off some pounds. But yeah, it sounds like she is struggling with like baby weight and her desire to lose weight compared to her desire to be a mom. And it doesn't, like he said we decided together.
Doesn't sound
but
like
he
it.
Doesn't like, it sounds like he encouraged her to decide together with him.
Everything about, I mean, not once in there did he say, like, I'm worried about her for her long-term health and for being...
No, he's worried about how she looks.
He's worried, yeah. He said, like, the only thing he really said about her was, like, his... Yeah, exactly. Like, nowhere in there, he's like, I'm really worried about my wife, so I'm doing all this for her.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, like...
Yeah.
Like, there is, like, a place where it's, like, if I in a year gained, like, 100 pounds, like, that would be a big concern, even if pregnancy was part of it, and you would talk to me about it, but you wouldn't... I think the problem is, like, and even, like, some inexperienced coaches do this, there's a big difference between, hey, I think you need to lose weight, so I'm going to get you this thing to help you lose weight in ways that I think are good. And that doesn't help anyone. So, and kind of like what you were saying, like, if someone wants to lose weight, you have to confirm that they want to lose weight. And then there's, like, a conversation that has to happen around, like, okay, why do you want to lose weight? How much weight do you want to lose? How do you want to lose the weight? Like, she might not like the Peloton. She might not feel comfortable going to gyms right now if she's 80 pounds overweight. Like, if
she's in a whole new body right now. Like,
yeah,
really.
It's like a completely different, not only from the weight, but from, like, everything that's happened from having a baby. Like, her body, like, almost, like, in the course of 1 year, she's in a completely different body, and she doesn't know how to handle it. And if someone's in this situation, which is kind of why I wanted to, like, do this one, is, like, I could see someone being in this situation being like, how do I approach it? He does sound like a dick because all he cares about is how she looks to him, but I could still see someone who actually cares having no idea how to approach their partner in, like,
it can be tricky.
A productive way. So it would be more like I feel like the conversation would have to start like, hey, like, are you okay right now? Like, I know that I'm sure at some point she's mentioned not being happy about her body. You don't gain 80 pounds and never bring it up. Yeah. So I would wait for the next time that she's said something and been like, hey, like, I know that you're, like, really uncomfortable right now. Like, what do you think would help you? Do you think that if we joined the gym together, it would help you? Do you think that you need to talk to someone and we can, like, set you up with a coach or set you up with a therapist depending on what's going on? But, like,
or go for walks with the baby, like, whatever, something she, like, enjoys. Like, if she's outdoorsy, go outside. Like, go just be active outside.
But it's got to be getting her input and not constantly pointing out to her, because it, like, like, if she's switching to, like, fast food, like, okay, that's a problem, that's not part of the plan, if assuming she agreed to the plan of not fast food. So because he says that she at some point stopped cooking meals and started opting for unhealthy fast foods. That doesn't sound like she just gave up. That sounds like she's burnt the fuck out. And the conversation should be like, hey, like, it seems like you've got a lot on your plate right now. Is, like, cooking these meals difficult for you? Like, do we need to find something that's, like, easier? How can I help? but it doesn't sound like that's what's happening. He's just like, I need her to lose weight because I said she needs to, so I'm going to buy her these things, and now I'm mad that she's not doing it. And there's never been a conversation around like, what's going on? How are you feeling? What do you actually need? And that's like, if there's anyone in your life that is struggling with weight or their health, it should never be like, oh, you should do this. It's more like, how do you feel? How can I help? And let them guide it. And that's even like, we're paid to help people do that, and we still start conversations like, how can I help? Not, well, this is what I've decided.
Here's what to do.
Yeah, that's never the right approach.
So I think
I'm trying to see if the edit is worth it.
Probably not.
It's not. He's mad at people calling him a misogynist.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Tough based on what you've given us. Tough to argue, but before,
Oh no. Kyrie.
Anyway, just to put a bow on it, she's done with this. Yeah, in this situation, basically just like talk to the person and see like
communicate,
see where they are. Try to get back to coach version. Just have a conversation with them. Like, what are their goals? She might not give a damn about losing a pound. She just might want to feel better. In which case, weight's probably gonna come off anyway. But like, it's all about your mindset. Like, she probably doesn't losing just numbers on a scale. She doesn't care about. She probably cares more about feeling better and moving better. Who knows? Maybe they want to be more active. Get those things rather than just like, I want to lose X amount of pounds or gain X amount of pounds. You want to find the underlying motivators and focus on those, and the weight's gonna come or go, whatever your goal is anyway. So it's kind of just shifting your mindset, and can go a long way.
Yeah,
as far as that.
We also don't know where she started from. Like, he doesn't mention what her actual weight is, only the gain. So for all we know, she was a teeny tiny little thing, and 80 pounds would be a big jump for her, but it might only be putting her like 20 pounds overweight if she was like very small before. So that's the other thing, is like, she might not actually need to lose 80 pounds to be medically healthy, you know?
If you guys comment below if you have your own questions or any Reddit posts that you enjoyed, you want us to answer, that would be helpful, or just any questions in the comments. We could answer your questions and do more of these